Alright, so this is from a worksheet that we did in chemistry class. You guys probably saw it, but I want to go back over and do this again. It's a pretty simple problem. If a compound contains 36.84% nitrogen, that means the rest of it is trapped up in oxygen in this case. So that becomes 60. This is on the stuff that we did yesterday, guys. I'm just illustrating another problem. So that's 1, 6, and that's a 3 grams of oxygen. So we're going to divide this by 16 and divide this one by 14.01 and 1 mole. Okay, so again, nothing fancy there. So you divide these numbers out, 36.84 divided by 14.01. This one gives you 2.63, and this one down here gives you 3.95. So you divide both of these numbers by 2.63. So that's the lower one. But whenever you divide 3.95 by 2.63, you end up getting 1.50, which is a number that falls outside of the range that you can round in. So in this case, your formula looks like NO 1.5. You can't have that. So what you do is you multiply this whole thing. You're starting at 2. Then you go to 3 if that doesn't work. And then you go to 4 if that doesn't work. So in this case, if you multiply the whole thing by 2, you get N2O3, which is the right answer. All right? So whenever you're multiplying, that's what I'm talking about right there. All right, so back to the review. So I don't want to do 21, and 22 is going to be fun, so let's do that one. That kind of sort of rhymed. All right, so this is talking about molecular formula. It wants to know what the molecular formula is. So in order to find the molecular formula, first thing, we need to know the empirical formula is mass. If we don't know what the empirical formula is, i.e. they don't give it to you in the problem, that means you have to find the empirical formula, which is what we just did. So we have 30.5 grams of nitrogen. So we're going to divide that by 14.01, 1 mole. And then we do 69.5 grams of oxygen, divide that by 16 and 1 mole. All right, guys, so what's 30.5 divided by 14.01? Anybody? 2.18. All right, and then what's 69.5 divided by 16? 4.34. All right, so which one of these guys is lower? The first one, right? So we're going to divide both of these guys by 2.18. This obviously becomes 1. What does this guy become? So it roughly becomes what? 2, right? Not 4, 2. So our formula becomes NO2. Now let's go back and let's look at the problem set. And hey, look, you have your answer choices. And it says, what is the molecular formula? And look at B. Hey, it's NO2. Are we done? No, because we need to find the what? Molecular formula. What have we just gotten done finding? Empirical formula. All right? So we go back to the empirical formula. All right? So we know what the empirical formula is. Now we need to know the mass of the empirical formula. So that's 14.01 plus 32. Obviously 16 times 2. So that becomes 46.01 grams is the empirical formula mass. And so step 2 is we divide the molecular formula mass divided by the empirical formula mass. So the molecular formula mass is 91.8 grams. We're going to divide that by 46.01 grams, which is what we got here. We're going to divide those two, and it's going to be a whole number. What number does it end up becoming? 2, right? So this number becomes 2. So the third step, multiply empirical formula by number. So if our empirical formula is NO2, what is that multiplied by 2? What does it become? And hey, guess what? Is that one of the answer choices? Are you done? Yeah. Where did I get 32? 2 times 16. All right, any other questions? All right, so let's look at 23. All right, what is the empirical formula of the following compounds? All right, so basically what we're looking at for 23 is the following. What you're doing, if you have the molecular formula, you find the empirical formula, what you do is you just divide by a common denominator. So what's the common denominator for N2O4? So NO2. What about this guy? What's the empirical formula of this? Or CH2O. Divide everything by 6. All right, what's H2O2? HO. And what's N4H10 going to be? O5. Good. All right, so this last part, number 24. I'm not going to show you how to do it because that's what 22 was doing. This one just has a third step in there. But I will tell you that the answer is going to be C. All right? What's up? Oh, sorry. My bad. On 24, instead of having only 2 elements, you now have 3 elements. That's the only difference between 24 and 22. All right, so that being said, if you finish the problems that I didn't do, then I will give you about 3 points on the test, provided that they're right. All right, so you have this review. Finish those problems if you want a couple extra points on your test. All right, good luck, and if you have any questions, give me an email.